Huge.
But this is a whole thing, like
Yes.
talking to you about music that I'm
Okay.
really proud of. So I'm like I'm gonna.
Taylor, don't tell me
space it
this is
out.
your last album.
What? No.
I just saw some fans going, well, she's going to get married and then she's going to have children and then it's going to be the last
That's-
album.
The world-renowned musical artist, Taylor Swift, who recently announced her engagement to the prominent NFL star Travis Kelce, playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, delivered a powerful public refutation of persistent fan speculations, which suggested that her immensely successful music career was destined to end immediately following her wedding ceremony, stating unequivocally that the entire underlying sentiment was a shockingly offensive thing to say, a forceful comment the singer made during a scheduled interview broadcast on BBC Radio 2 on Monday, October 3rd, following the release of her 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl, which had debuted just days earlier on Friday, October RD, clearly indicating her intention to definitively set the record straight regarding her future professional and personal plans. The necessity for this clear statement arose during her comprehensive appearance on the Scott Mills Breakfast Show on BBC Radio 2, where the year-old host, Scott Mills, directly questioned the year-old opalite singer about the intense and widely discussed anxieties expressed by a segment of her dedicated fan base who had been actively speculating that her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, would mark her final project, based on the traditional assumption that she would permanently retire from making music once she and her fiancé, Kelce, formally tied the knot. Mills initiated the specific line of questioning by addressing the artist with a tone of mock concern, asking, "Taylor, don't tell me this is your last album?" A question which Swift met with an immediate emphatic rejection, responding simply, "What? No," prompting Mills to elaborate on the source of his query, explaining that he had witnessed fans stating, "Well, she's going to get married, and then she's going to have children, and then she's going to be the last album," succinctly summarizing the restrictive expectation that Swift was now challenging. Upon hearing the full articulation of this long-standing societal assumption, Swift reacted initially with a brief laugh, but quickly followed up by asserting that the underlying idea was seriously a shockingly offensive thing to say, demonstrating her strong objection to the premise that marriage necessitates professional retreat. She further expanded on the contemporary rationale for marriage, stating firmly, "It's not why people get married, so that they can quit their job," immediately refuting the suggestion that domestic life was meant to be an exit strategy from a fulfilling career, and she began to explain the deeply personal role of her artistic output, noting, "It's also like music for me is ihio," before host Mills interjected a mitigating defense of her supporters, suggesting, "I think the fans were just panicking." Swift accepted that her fans occasionally enter a state of unnecessary anxiety, acknowledging, "Oh, I know they love to panic sometimes, but it's like I love the person that I am with because he loves what I do, and he loves how much I am fulfilled by making art and making music," thereby emphasizing the crucial fact that her creative ambition was a celebrated and supportive element within their relationship, not a source of conflict. She passionately praised her fiancé, Kelce, highlighting his own intense professional drive as a key factor in their connection, asserting, "That's the coolest thing about Travis. Like he is so passionate about what he does, that me being passionate about what I do, it connects us," which she confirmed meant that the retirement scenario was fundamentally impossible, given the depth of their mutual support, stating with complete certainty, "There's no point in time where he's gonna be like, 'I'm really upset that you're still making the music thing that I signed up for that I knew you love. I thought you were gonna stop doing that," confirming his absolute acceptance of her musical dedication. If you are intrigued by this powerful defense of career ambition within a committed relationship, please subscribe now for all the latest updates. The hugely successful pop superstar further conveyed her pleasure in their ability to continuously and enthusiastically support each other, despite the distinct appearances of their respective career paths. She then drew remarkably detailed and functional comparisons between her job as an internationally touring musician and the intensive professional life of the year-old Kelce, who performs as a premier tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs, revealing a surprising level of professional commonality. She articulated this symmetry by stating clearly, "We both, as a living, as a job, as a passion, perform for 3.5 hours in NFL stadiums," establishing a direct equivalence in the duration and venue scale of their work. She reinforced this shared objective by noting, "We both do 3.5 hour shows to entertain people," underscoring their mutual goal of large-scale public entertainment. Swift then proceeded to detail the subtle linguistic differences that describe their identical use of the massive venues, observing, "When I'm in those stadiums, it's a dressing room, but when he's in those exact same stadiums, it's a locker room," showcasing how the same physical space serves the same function for both professions. She continued to draw precise parallels between their activities using specialized terms, explaining, "For him, it's practice. For me, it's rehearsal. For him, it's a game. For me, it's a show. We just call them different things. It's a very similar thing," reinforcing the common operational structure of their demanding careers. She finished the comparison by highlighting the necessity of organizational structure and their mutual personality traits, noting, "We both have teams, and we're both competitive, like in fun ways, not in ways that eat away at us, but just like we just love it," which characterized their shared ambition as a healthy, unifying force. During a separate public appearance, specifically on The Graham Norton Show, which took place on Friday, October RD, the very day her latest album was released, Swift shared an intimate detail, revealing that Kelce had undeniably crushed the crucial marriage proposal. She further disclosed that her fiancé had taken the creative and highly thoughtful step of hiring her own personal Eras Tour photographer and instructing them to strategically conceal themselves in some hedges he had erected in his backyard, purely to secretly capture the precise, candid moment when he knelt down to pop the pivotal question, a charming detail that resonated strongly with the public. If you enjoy knowing these exclusive details, subscribe for more insights into Taylor's life. Mills then returned to the BBC Radio 2 interview to question Swift on the progress of her wedding planning, humorously asking her to compare the anticipated scale of her nuptials, querying which event would ultimately possess the biggest production value, drawing a stark comparison between her worldwide Eras Tour and the forthcoming marriage ceremony. Swift responded to the logistical inquiry by prioritizing her immediate focus, exclaiming, "Oh my gosh, you know what? I'm doing one thing at a time. Right now I'm doing this," confirming her commitment to the current album cycle, and she admitted that she had not yet made certain organizational decisions, adding that she doesn't know if she would eventually hire a professional wedding planner. She concluded her statement by asserting that her primary focus was currently on the emotional significance of the union itself, explaining, "I think that right now, I'm just really stoked about the idea that I get to marry this person, and so I'm gonna think about that, and then I'm gonna put out this album, and then I'm gonna think about other things after that," thereby confirming a clear, sequential priority list that placed her personal joy and professional responsibilities in their proper order of attention, ensuring her continued dedication to her art. Subscribe to follow her career journey.